Rachel Leishman is my favorite idiot at the Mary Sue. They are all idiots, but her self-awareness seems to be zero. This article, if you read in between the lines, is Mark Hamill saying he thought Disney Star Wars was trash, but he's trying not to burn any bridges. And yes, this is my second time trying to get through this video, and if I can't do this one without saying something unforgivable, then I'm just not going to have a video for the day. But the Mary Sue has a narrative of diversity to push, so they try to interpret his comment in a more positive light. Let me start with his comment first. When asked if he'd return as Luke if the situation was right, Hamill had this to say. "Oh, I can't imagine that. No, I had a beginning, middle, and end. Those films gave me far more than I ever expected when we started out, so it's never even occurred to me. My farewell was in episode 9, and it was bittersweet." I love all those people, and I certainly have affection for George and the character he created. Emphasis. I'm full of gratitude for what it has given me in my career, but I don't want to be greedy. There are still so many more stories to tell and so many more great actors to tell them. They don't need me. But, of course, that doesn't quite fit in with their narrative, so she tries to rehab that statement a little bit. In the nicest way I can say this, Luke Skywalker is dead, and it is time we move on. We have a connection to the original trilogy, heroes we fell in love with when it comes to Star Wars, but sometimes we just have to let things go. And it's time we do that with Luke Skywalker. That and Mark Hamill is pretty much done with the role. Gee, I wonder why, even if they found a way for Luke to come back to the series. It doesn't come from a sense of Hamill giving up on Star Wars per se. Are you sure about that? Instead, quite the opposite. Come on. Mark Hamill is done with Star Wars because he's aware that maybe he's done with Rian Johnson and Abrams. Do you think that might have a possibility? Because he's aware that there are far more stories to tell in the galaxy far, far away, and he's ready for other actors to tell them. He opened up about his future in the franchise. Honestly, it makes sense. The sequel trilogy was effectively signing off the original trilogy. All right, whatever. I'm surprised they left this comment up for so long. Man of Tomorrow says, it's bittersweet considering the grossly absurd narrative choices Lucasfilm and Disney opted to make through this entire trilogy. Granted, Luke ended up becoming one with the Force and finally becoming the wise Jedi Master fans have wanted for decades, but how he got to that point was so effing contrived and done purely from a subvert expectations standpoint. First of all, if you're a master filmmaker, yes, you can subvert expectations. But if you're not, Rian Johnson and Abrams, not masters. I don't think anyone would accuse them of being master filmmakers. Just try to stick with making a good, simple story. Follow whatever cliche example you have, the templates that have been laid out before you in the prior 7 films, I guess, Rogue One, and just try to be competent. Once you're competent, you can try to reach for excellence, but you guys aren't there yet. You have to understand Star Wars, and it means understand, quote unquote, means you have to be very, very familiar with them. I'm not saying you had to grow up with them, but you had to have seen them several times and take notes on them. Even if they didn't mean anything to you, at least a bit of research is required. Some of these people involved with Star Wars, I don't know if they've ever seen the original, at least the original trilogy. It's surprising. I think Shiwan Head did a thing with her boyfriend years ago where he showed her the original trilogy, and I don't know what, she's under 30 and she hadn't seen them. She was probably 25 when she saw it. It's like, yeah, she thought they were good, but I just can't imagine someone not having seen that original trilogy. If all you had to go by was the 1999 films to 2002, oh, wow, you are missing out. You have to understand Star Wars in order to subvert it, and it was obvious there was a profound lack of understanding through the whole trilogy. Oh, you don't say. That said, as upset as I am that we didn't get half of what we should have received under the lazy excuse for, well, we gotta prop up our new characters, and the easiest way to do that is to kill the originals instead of write both the new and old characters well. No. Shit. Well, to be fair, it's a tired trope in many franchises and media that rarely goes over well. I'm glad Hamill was gracious about the whole thing and had a decent ending arc. Really hope that talks about Favreau and Filoni taking over the creative side of Star Wars. Yeah, give Star Wars to people who are successful with it. With more advice from George pans out, because they're the only two people who seem to understand what the F is going on and should be in control of where it's going from here. Some topics I purposely avoid because I know I will lose my effing mind, and probably my YouTube channel. Dana Schwartz is one of those people, an absolute twat waffle, someone who was never told that she had bad ideas. Some people were beaten as children, some weren't beaten enough. Dana Schwartz is basically Eric Cartman, but skinnier. While Eric is broadly istophobic, Dana Schwartz only seems to hate certain people. The thing with SJWs is they're really, really hardcore racist. Like, if you combine David Duke and Farrakhan, and they had a magical butt baby, that would be Dana Schwartz. They really hate white people, but when you ask them, wait a sec, aren't you referring to yourself? Your skin is paler than mine. They get all shifty and nervous. No, I'm not talking about me. Then who exactly are you referring to? It must be a mystery. Like they say, we need to do better, which makes me wonder, what horrible things have they done? Everyone I know treats people well, and we're all from different backgrounds. So I am confused when Lily White, Dana Schwartz, is telling us that we have a problem. We don't have a problem, Dana. You're just a filthy cunt. People like Dana thrive on outrage clicks. Their resume is Twitter. They write a few lame books that nobody reads, but it puts their name out there. Then at least people know she's vaguely literate. Then she gets a job writing some crap for Netflix that bombs. But on a group project, it's really nobody's specific fault, so she shuffles off to her next project to ruin another show. After all, she doesn't have a busy social life, as she said on her Twitter. Translation, she is single. Honestly, if these people got laid every now and then, they would be in a much better mood. She finished writing for She-Hulk, which she blessed with her pure Schwartz energy to bring it to the peak of excellence. I'm sure it won't suck sweaty donkey balls. People like Schwartz. I don't know where she lives, but she's got that big city view of the world, very much a delusional one. It's a globalist, cosmopolitan type of thing, which at first sounds glamorous, but under the surface it is filth, rot, and corruption. You know that trope about Marvel Comics, or probably even DC too, of people sitting around, when women write these comics, you know, the SJW women, not all women, they have women sitting around tables drinking tea and eating cookies and just the Gail Simone wine aunt type of thing. Dana Schwartz. Columbo is incredible because every episode is the length of a full feature film, and the biggest set pieces are dinner at a restaurant where people have a conversation. Fascinating. If you hire people like Dana Schwartz for whatever you're working on that the public has to be a part of, it's gonna suffer. If you summed up Dana Schwartz, she is a perfect writer for BuzzFeed. I don't even know how much, if BuzzFeed is going to be around for too much longer. She is writing for a mostly New York, LA internationalist crowd where everyone pretends to have Trump derangement syndrome, even if they think he's kind of doing a good job. They can't admit that or they'll never get work. If you wanted to destroy Lord of the Rings because it is everything that she hates and feels she must destroy, then she would be the perfect choice. Tolkien is a Christian, or was a Christian English writer, telling stories vaguely of English excellence. Lord of the Ring is something people, mostly men, enjoy. When people like Schwartz see that, they immediately think of ways to destroy it. One, they're terrified of people having a good time, and two, anything unapologetically European scares the hell out of them. And of course, nationalism terrifies them because they're all godless commies. So while she probably won't be moving on to Lord of the Rings, she will definitely destroy something that you enjoy. This is the kind of stuff she tweets about TV shows. Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, whatever, that kind of just... How do I say this? If she wasn't, like, in a public position, you would never have heard of her. Schwartz, and she's written a few books, and she's got one coming out next year about relationships, but apparently she's single, doesn't have kids, so she's the perfect person to write a relationship book to encourage young girls to not have kids. Her and Katzenstein did a book together called The White Man's Guide to White Male Writers in Western Canon. Just let that one sink in. She's also known for accusing Jared Kushner of being anti-Semitic. I don't even know where to go with that. Anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Slow news day, right? If you want to send me an email or your Comicsgate project, you want me to edit it or look it over or whatever, Bianca Zombie 602gmail.com. Or if you want to send me a hard copy, you can hit my P.O. box in the links below, or support the channel. And those of you who have supported me through the various ways, thank you. I don't deserve it. I think you all know I don't deserve it, but you've definitely stepped up and given me money for being an asshole on YouTube, which I love to do. I really enjoy it. All right, guys, I will see you all next episode.